Sign it, Camilla. It's over. You don't get to touch the crown anymore. Those were the ice-cold words Prince William whispered inside the private drawing room of Buckingham Palace just minutes ago, right before Queen Camilla broke down into absolute hysterical tears. Just 5 minutes ago, a joint statement from Kensington Palace confirmed the news the world thought was months away. King Charles is officially stepping aside, handing full constitutional power over to Prince William and Princess Catherine. But it wasn't the loss of the throne that left Camilla crying hysterically in front of senior staff. It was a secret, handwritten clause buried on the very last page of Charles's retirement papers, written in the king's own shaky ink, that completely shut Camilla's office out of monarchy forever. As broadcasters gather outside the palace gates and security seals off the throne room, Camilla is frantically calling her lawyers, realizing she'd been utterly outmaneuvered by William and Catherine. What did that secret handwritten sentence say that destroyed Camilla's entire legacy in a single second? And why did Princess Catherine look so deeply shaken as she walked toward the ceremonial chairs? Stay right where you are and do not skip a single second, because the leaked details spilling out of Windsor tonight will leave you completely speechless. Najaf by Dekinism Dialogues High-Stakes Drama or Instant Suspense Ka Combo High Joe Viewer KO Swipe Away Nahi Karn Dega. To truly understand how this devastating midnight surrender took place and why Queen Camilla was left weeping uncontrollably inside Buckingham Palace, we have to pull back the velvet curtain on a ruthless, secret war that had been quietly tearing the House of Windsor apart for over a year. To the outside world, the British monarchy was presenting a carefully crafted image of stability, duty, and quiet resilience. But behind the heavy oak doors, a bitter, vicious struggle for control was reaching absolute boiling point between Queen Camilla's ambitious inner circle and Prince William's fierce determination to protect his family's future. You are pushing him into an early grave. Camilla, can't you see he is physically collapsing? That was the explosive confrontation Prince William reportedly hurled at Camilla during a heated argument behind closed doors just 6 weeks ago. Ever since King Charles was diagnosed with his health condition, Camilla's office had been quietly tightening its grip on palace operations. Insiders revealed that Camilla was terrified of what would happen to her standing, her titles, and her influence the moment Charles was no longer on the throne. She knew that the public's devotion belonged entirely to Prince William and Princess Catherine, fearing complete obscurity once William became king. Camilla's team began executing a series of subtle, calculated maneuvers to secure her power long into the future. While King Charles was trying to manage his taxing medical treatments, Camilla's senior advisors were busy drafting confidential proposals behind his back. They were designing a permanent advisory council based out of Clarence House, a hidden setup that would allow Camilla to retain veto power over state banquets, major royal appointments, and long-term public schedules, even if Charles withdrew from public life. Whenever William or Catherine tried to step in to lighten the king's burden, Camilla's team would quietly push back, leaking stories to favored royal journalists suggesting that Kensington Palace was getting impatient, greedy, and overly ambitious for crown. For months, Princess Catherine endured this quiet disrespect with unbelievable dignity. Despite dealing with her own delicate health challenges and raising 3 young children under intense global scrutiny, Catherine consistently put the monarchy first. But as Camilla's office grew bolder, tried to strip away Catherine's traditional patronages and alter long-standing royal protocols, the tension reached a point of absolute toxicity. She thinks she can push Catherine into the shadows while my father is weak, William reportedly told a trusted senior aide during a private flight to Windsor. She is forgetting one very crucial thing. I am the heir, and my wife will not be disrespected under my watch. The breaking point didn't happen in a press conference or a public speech. It happened during a high-stakes rehearsal for an upcoming state ceremony in London. King Charles arrived at the venue determined to prove to the nation that he was still in complete command. But as the demanding rehearsal dragged on under hot studio lights, witnesses reported seeing the color completely drain from the king's face. His answers became brief. His hands began to tremble, and his focus visibly drifted. When Charles suddenly stumbled while reviewing the ceremonial positions, senior medical staff rushed forward and cleared the room immediately. The doctor's message to the king that evening was direct, blunt, and non-negotiable. The brutal daily pace of royal duties had to stop immediately, or he faced severe, irreversible health complications. Charles was advised to surrender the heavy burden of daily state responsibilities and prepare for a long, indefinite absence. When news of the medical ultimatum reached Clarence House, Camilla's team didn't pause to mourn the king's failing strength. They saw an immediate opportunity to execute their master plan. That very night, Camilla's private secretary began circulating confidential notes detailing how her office would manage the king's absence, framing William's expanded authority as merely temporary and subject to her review. What Camilla didn't realize was that someone inside her own inner circle was horrified by this blatant power grab, while the king was at his most vulnerable. That whistleblower quietly passed the secret documents directly into the hands of the one person in the royal family who fears no one and tolerates zero betrayal. Princess N, armed with proof of Camilla's hidden agenda. Princess, and prepared to bring the entire conspiracy crashing down in an emergency meeting that would forever change the destiny of the British monarchy. The emergency meeting was called at 11:30 p.m. inside the dark, heavy-paneled drawing room of Buckingham Palace. Outside, London was asleep, completely unaware of the constitutional storm exploding inside the royal residence. Inside the room, the tension was so thick you could cut it with a knife. King Charles sat at the head of the long mahogany table, looking exhausted and visibly frail. Prince William stood by the grand fireplace, his arms crossed, his face set in stone. Beside him sat Princess Catherine, quiet, composed, but holding William's hand with a tight, nervous grip. Princess Anne stood near the door like a silent sentinel, while Queen Camilla sat opposite Charles, holding a gold pen, ready to finalize what she believed was a triumphant agreement. A thick, leather-bound folder sat in the center of the table. Its cover bore the gold-embossed title, The Royal Continuity and Succession Order. Camilla smiled faintly, leaning forward to address the room in a calm, practiced tone. We all know why we are here tonight. Charles needs rest, and the monarchy requires steady guidance. My office has prepared an arrangement where William manages daily audiences, while my household retains oversight on state banquets, royal appointments, and high-level protocol decisions to maintain stability. William didn't even look at her. He kept his eyes fixed on his father. You mean you want to run the crown from Clarence House while my father recovers? Camilla? You want the public to think I'm just a placeholder while you hold the real authority. Camilla raised her eyebrows, adjusting her pearl necklace with an air of superior calm. It's called experience, William. The country is in a delicate position. Giving total, unchecked control to Kensington Palace right now could look like an aggressive push for power. We need a balance, council. Before William could respond, Princess Anne stepped forward from the shadows. She didn't say a word. She simply reached into her coat, pulled out a dark blue silk folder, and slammed it onto the middle of the table right on top of Camilla's documents. The sharp thud echoed through the silent room, like a gunshot. Enough of the fairy tales, Camilla, and said, her voice dripping with pure ice. Let's talk about what your office has actually been doing while Charles was lying in a hospital bed. Camilla's composure flickered for a fraction of a second. And I don't know what kind of drama you were trying to manufacture. Open the folder, Charles, and interrupted, ignoring Camilla completely. Read page 4. King Charles, his hand shaking slightly, pulled the blue folder toward him and opened it. Inside were leaked internal emails, draft press releases, and confidential memos stamped with the official seal of Clarence House. As Charles read the lines, his eyes widened in sheer disbelief. The leaked documents revealed that Camilla's top advisors had already drafted a media strategy to portray Prince William as erratic, inexperienced, and overly dependent on Princess Catherine's popularity. Even worse, handwritten notes in the margins, written in ink directly linked to Camilla's private secretary, suggested that if King Charles's health deteriorated further, Camilla should claim a formal regent advisor status, effectively overriding William's executive decisions. Prince William stepped up to the table, leaning over to read the highlighted sections over his father's shoulder. His face turned thunderous with rage. You were planning a quiet coup, William barked, pointing a finger directly at Camilla. While my wife was recovering from surgery, while my father was struggling through medical treatments, you were building a legal fortress to keep yourself in power. You set up a web of lies to make Catherine look weak and me look unfit. Catherine stared at Camilla, tears of quiet shock welling up in her eyes. She leaned forward, her voice trembling but sharp as a razor. "We trusted you, Camilla. I sat in your drawing room. I protected your reputation in front of press. And all the while, your team was writing briefing papers to undermine my husband's legitimate birthright." Camilla's face flushed bright red. She looked frantically toward Charles, her voice rising in pitch. "Charles, listen to me. These are preliminary discussions taken out of context by disloyal staff. I was trying to protect your legacy. You know how ruthless Kensington Palace can be." Charles slowly raised his hand, signaling her to stop. The room went dead silent. The king looked aged by 20 years, staring at his wife not with anger, but with deep, painful heartbreak. "Is this your handwriting, Camilla?" Charles asked, his voice barely above a whisper, pointing to a margin note that read, "Ensure Kensington Palace is kept out of senior diplomatic briefings." Camilla opened her mouth, but no words came out. She was trapped. Then came the first catastrophic twist that changed the course of the night completely. Princessin took a deep breath and delivered a bombshell revelation that sent shockwaves through the room. "It's too late to deny it, Camilla, because 15 minutes ago, these exact documents were delivered to the High Court and sent directly to the heads of the Commonwealth. And the person who leaked them to me was your own senior chief of staff." Camilla froze, her breath catching in her throat. Her own closest ally had turned on her, handing over the entire paper trail of her secret power grab to protect themselves from legal fallout. The trap had closed, and Queen Camilla was caught dead center. The silence in the drawing room was terrifying as Queen Camilla realized her ultimate betrayal had come from inside her own inner circle. But before she could recover from the shock of her chief of staff turning on her, the drama exploded into absolute mass hysteria. Suddenly, a palace aide burst through the heavy double doors without knocking, his face pale as a sheet, holding an iPad with trembling hands. "Your Majesty, I am so sorry to interrupt, but it's already out. It's everywhere." Within minutes, confidential excerpts from the leaked Clarence House dossier had hit the internet. Social media exploded into an unprecedented, catastrophic meltdown. On X, hashtags like #RoyalCoup's, #CamillaExposed, and #KingWilliam were trending at the #1 spot globally with over 2 million posts in less than 20 minutes. Leaked Twitter threads from top investigative journalists began posting screenshots of the private memos, exposing how Camilla's team had tried to sabotage Prince William and Princess Catherine behind the scenes. Royal fans and world leaders alike were reacting in sheer horror, flooding comment sections with outrage and demanding Camilla's immediate removal from all public affairs. Inside the room, Camilla jumped to her feet, her chair scraping violently against the hardwood floor. "This is an illegal smear campaign," she screamed, her voice cracking as panic completely took over. "You set me up, William. You leaked this to force Charles into stepping down before he's ready." Prince William didn't flinch. He walked over to his father, picked up a pen, and placed the official royal continuity and succession order directly in front of King. "It's time, father," William said softly, his voice full of solemn authority. "The monarchy cannot survive this level of deceit. You need to sign the transfer of power right now, or the entire institution will crumble by morning." King Charles looked up at Camilla, tears welling in his tired eyes. He realized there was no turning back. Slowly, with a shaking hand, he picked up the pen and prepared to sign the official documents, surrendering his control to William and Catherine. Seeing the pen touch the paper, Camilla rushed forward, reaching out to stop him. "Charles, please, don't do this to me. You are stripping away everything I worked for." But King Charles held up his hand, stopping her dead in her tracks. "You did this to yourself, Camilla," Charles said, his voice cold and definitive. He signed his name on the final line, officially stepping aside and transferring full constitutional authority to Prince William. But right beneath his signature, Charles did something that dropped every jaw in the room. He wrote a short, handwritten clause that delivered the second most devastating twist of the night. He turned the paper toward Camilla so she could read the fresh black ink. "No authority granted through this document may ever be claimed, reviewed, or touched by the Queen's household." Camilla stared at the handwritten line, reading her total, permanent ban from royal power. Her hands flew to her face, and right there in front of William, Catherine, Princess, and Queen Camilla broke down into hysterical, helpless tears, realized that her reign was officially over. Within less than 2 hours of King Charles's historic signature hitting the parchment, the news blew past royal channels and erupted into a full-scale global media war. Television networks across the United Kingdom, North America, and Europe immediately pulled their scheduled programming to launch emergency live broadcasts. Outside Buckingham Palace, thousands of shocked citizens gathered under the pouring London rain, holding up their phones, desperately refreshing news feeds as heavily armed police established a secure perimeter around the gates. The internet was divided into an absolute battleground. On one side, millions of passionate Prince William and Princess Catherine supporters launched nationwide celebrations online, hailing the transition as a long-overdue victory for the future of the crown. William and Catherine just saved the British monarchy from a total hostile takeover, tweeted one prominent royal commentator, a post that racked up over 500,000 retweets in a matter of minutes. Charles did what he had to do. Camilla tried to play high-stakes politics with the throne, and she got completely wiped out. But on the other side, Camilla's remaining allies and legal sympathizers began firing back with vicious intensity. Unfiltered leaks from former Clarence House insiders began circulating on TikTok and YouTube, claiming that Prince William had manipulated his father's fragile health condition to pull off an aggressive palace coup. "This is nothing short of a ruthless ambush," declared a high-profile political strategist during a fiery live debate on major television news. Queen Camilla dedicated years of her life to standing loyally beside King Charles. To lock her out of her own household duties with a handwritten clause while she was in tears is an unforgivable humiliation. Inside the halls of Parliament, the reaction was pure, unadulterated panic. Senior politicians and constitutional experts gathered for emergency late-night consultations in Westminster, terrified that a public legal war between Queen Camilla's lawyers and Kensington Palace would destroy international confidence in the United Kingdom. Commonwealth leaders were demanding immediate private briefings, confused over who actually held executive diplomatic authority moving forward. Even top Hollywood celebrities, media moguls, and global influencers started weighing in, turning the royal tragedy into the biggest pop culture obsession of the decade. Major news anchors openly questioned whether Queen Camilla would accept her total exile quietly, or she was already preparing to unleash an explosive, retaliatory tell-all interview that would expose every deep, dark secret hidden behind Buckingham Palace doors. While the global media was busy celebrating Prince William and Princess Catherine's total victory, an even darker, far more dangerous storm was quietly brewing inside the private quarters of Clarence House. Queen Camilla, having fled Buckingham Palace in total disgrace with tears still fresh on her face, was no longer weeping. The shock had turned into pure, ice-cold vengeance. At 3 a.m., a sleek, black limousine with tinted windows arrived at the rear entrance of Clarence House under complete darkness. A high-profile, ruthless celebrity litigation attorney stepped out, carrying a leather briefcase. Inside that room, surrounded by her most trusted advisors, Queen Camilla made a move that nobody, not even Prince William or Princess Anne, saw coming. Leaked audio recordings obtained from inside that meeting revealed Camilla's razor-sharp, furious instructions to her legal team. "They think a handwritten clause can destroy my rights. They think they can parade William and Catherine on television while I sit in the shadows like a disgraced villain? File the emergency injunction immediately." That's right. Just as Prince William and Catherine prepared to take the throne, Camilla's legal team filed an emergency constitutional challenge in the Royal Courts of Justice, claiming King Charles signed a stepping aside order under intense psychological duress and unlawful coercion. And here's the absolute most horrifying twist of the night that has sent icy shockwaves straight through Kensington Palace. Camilla's attorney claims to possess a secret, private diary kept by King Charles over the last 8 months. A diary detailing secret medical diagnoses, explosive family arguments, and direct threats made by senior royals during private meetings. If Camilla's lawyers release those handwritten journal entries to the global media, it won't just stop William and Catherine's rise to power. It'll completely demolish the entire British monarchy overnight. As Prince William received the urgent legal notice at dawn, witnesses reported seeing his face go completely pale. Princess Catherine immediately gathered her legal staff, realizing that the fight for the crown was far from over. Did Camilla just pull off the ultimate, devastating trap against Prince William? And what explosive secrets are hidden inside King Charles's private diary that could destroy the royal family forever? This is an absolute royal nuclear meltdown. Will Camilla's secret diary expose the entire monarchy, or can William and Catherine crush her legal attack before it's too late? I want to hear from you right now. Drop your answer in the comments below. Do you side with William and Catherine, or is Camilla fighting for what's rightfully hers? If you found this emergency update shocking, smash that like button, share this video with every royal fan, and hit subscribe right now so you never miss our next explosive leak dropping tomorrow.